So we're going to have some fun. And what I'm going to ask you to do for the next 10 minutes is think differently about the things that we consume, the places they come from, and the people that create them. Okay, visioning exercise first. Close your eyes. Think about the last thing that you purchased, the last article of clothing that was just really fabulous. Where did you get it? What attracted you to it? Was it the color? Was it the fabric? Who were you with when you obtained it? Where did it come from? Okay, just hold that in your mind. Open up. I am wearing mine. This little orange number I got in London. I was there for work, and I was out shopping with my friend Kirsty. And we went into this store called Topshop, and I saw it from across the room, and I was like, oh, I love the color, and I love the lace, and okay, came home with me. So now I wear it around San Francisco, and people say, you know, where did it come from? And they ask me about it, and I say, yeah, it comes from London. It comes from Topshop. But where really does it come from? The tag says made in India, but that really doesn't tell us much. Oh, can you hide that for now?
Yes,
yeah,
I can.
awesome.
Okay.
Sorry. We're going to talk about Joanna in a minute. So we're living in a really phenomenal time, right? We're living in a time of globalization, and that means that we can access things from around the world. We can go there and get them. They can come to us, and we're connected. And that's really cool. But what's not really cool is that so many of the people that create the things that we consume are not having a decent living. They're not getting paid fair prices. Maybe they don't have access to education, to healthcare, to the things that are basic needs that we just consider status quo. So we have 2 billion people in the world today living on less than $2 a day. So 2 billion people living on $700 a year. That's depressing. So what are we going to do? Well, I'm a huge advocate of reusing and recycling. I think we've heard some great things about that so far today. But I would also argue that based on other ways of purchasing, and the work that I do is one, which is fair trade, and I'm going to talk to you about that, we can actually have fabulous things. We can buy things responsibly that improve people's lives and protect the environment. So I have been working at Fair Trade USA for the last 7 years, and I'm going to open, oh, there it is, okay. And I travel the world, and I meet with farmers from around the globe and workers, and then I work with companies that are based here in the United States to help them to buy things that are sourced more sustainably, and then I work with consumers to create awareness about what fair trade really is. So what I want to do is talk to you about just a couple of the people that I've met in my travels and how fair trade, and by all of us purchasing fair trade, we can really change lives. So this is Joanna, and Joanna lives in Cayambe in Ecuador. And Cayambe is an incredible flower-producing region, right? And so the way that roses are grown there, a lot of the roses that we see and buy every day here come from there. And traditionally, those roses are grown in huge greenhouses. And because flowers are not eaten, mostly, by humans, the regulations around the kind of pesticides that are sprayed on flowers are very, very low, which means that you have big groups of people working in greenhouses that are basically getting gassed with incredible amounts of really harmful pesticides. We also, Joanna worked on a conventional farm like that for a few years, and she talked to us about how she would have to work really long hours, like during times around Valentine's Day or around Christmas when Americans want to buy a lot of roses, so she'd be working overtime and often wasn't getting paid for that. She had no health care, she had no education opportunities. But luckily, she started working at a place called Hoja Verde. And Hoja Verde is a fair trade flower farm. We've been working with them for about 7 years. And Hoja Verde is a very different place. Not only does she get above average wages for the region, but Joanna has a 2-year-old son. And when she became pregnant, she actually got a paid maternity leave. And this is in an environment where usually if a woman's pregnant, she won't actually tell her employers because she'll get fired. So Joanna had paid maternity leave. But the thing that really was an incredible thing for her was that on Hoja Verde, there's regular doctor checkups, right? So she goes every couple months and sees a doctor. And she went to one of those routine checkups, and they actually found that she had some cancer in her body, precancer cells. And they detected it early, and they were able to, heal her quickly, and she got treatment. And now she's thriving, and her little guy is doing great. And in fact, one of the new projects that Hoja Verde is doing with their Fair Trade Community Development money, so for every bunch of flowers they sell, they get, let's say, 10 cents. They're doing microlending, which means that Joanna has now $5,000, and she bought a piece of property, and she's going to be building a house for her family. So that's the difference and if you go actually to Whole Foods Market, you can find these Fair Trade certified roses and buy them and be a part of that change. Okay, let's talk about Sarale. So Sarale is a cotton farmer, and she lives in India, in Andhra Pradesh. And the situation for cotton growers in India is really quite dire in a lot of areas. So first of all, the market prices for cotton that these farmers are paid are oftentimes very low. But what's really also problematic is that throughout the cotton growing region, we've had chemical companies that have come in and basically been advocating for and pushing pesticides on the farmers to have a higher yield of their crop. But what happens then is your cotton plants actually become dependent on the chemicals and the pesticides, but those are also very expensive. So if you can imagine, you're getting a really low price for your cotton, but then your plants are actually needing you to buy inputs to put in to help them grow. It creates big cycles of poverty and debt for these farmers. And there's actually been some farmers that have been committing suicide because they feel so upset and put upon by all the financial debt, and they don't really know how to resolve it. So Zameen Cotton Association is a fair trade project. And for Sarale, as a female cotton grower, she's had some challenge because in that area, women can't own their land. And also they just don't have access to the right, to the same kinds of loans or resources that the male farmers do. So because they're a fair trade farm, we absolutely mandate that women have equal rights. And not only are they getting better prices, so above market prices, community development premiums, but Sarale has just been elected the president of the whole association. So she went from really being marginalized and having no opportunities to now, through this project, being in charge. And the cool thing about that cotton is it goes to a fair trade factory where the workers are getting fair wages and prices, and then it turns into Prana shirts. So Prana now has fair trade certified shirts. And what's really great is that, so that's Emma Watson, and she is designing a line of fair trade certified clothes that are available in Topshop. So to bring it all back around, someday this dress could be fair trade certified. So finally, I believe that when we know better, we do better. And I know that American consumers don't want to buy flowers that are harmful to the people that are growing them, and that we want to buy clothes that we can really feel good about. That when we envision that piece of clothing that makes us feel good, that's beautiful, it's also good for the world. So how can we do better? You guys know you've been doing an incredible job so far, and I was so excited to see the fair trade activities that you did. But really it's about it's a market-based solution to poverty alleviation. So if you see that label on a product and you buy fair trade, you are directly contributing to a better lives, a better life for others in the global south. If it's not in a store, ask for it. Educate people about what fair trade is and get involved. We have a really cool new app called the Fair Trade Finder, where you go around and you actually zap fair trade products that you see in stores, and that populates the database. And for all of you who are in college now and on the way there, we actually have a Fair Trade Universities program, and we really need leaders, so please talk to me about it. I'll be here all day, and get involved. So that's it.